Okay, what up ladies and gents? Welcome to another video by your favorite Asian robot. Alright, hopefully your favorite DarkTide partner as well. And as always, I'm about to do another informative video on the Zealot feats, okay? Let's cover this, and this time, I'm actually reshooting this. I will actually remember to turn off my camera while discussing the first few feats. Here we go. Okay, when it comes to your Zelly Belly, the first thing that you're going to want to ask yourself is, what feats and what baseline characteristics do I have? Your grenade is a stun grenade. You should know what it does. You throw a stun grenade, stuns enemies in the blast radius. Good for reviving, good for stopping hordes temporarily. Emperor's Will. This is your aura. You give 7% toughness damage reduction to all allies in coherency. Coherency is important. Shield your team. Your ultimate is called Chastise the Wicked. You will dash forward or towards a targeted enemy and replenish 50% toughness and increase the damage of your next melee hit by 25%. The next melee hit is also a guaranteed critical hit. All right. So use a heavy attack after using this. Don't waste it on a light attack. You have Swift Exorcism, which gives you plus 10% melee attack speed. You have Martyrdom, which gives you 5 damage. It's just 5 flat damage for each 15% for each 15 missing health. All right. It stacks up to 3 times. And last but not least, you've got Until Death. Every 90 seconds, taking damage that would kill you, you would gain invulnerability instead for 5 seconds. Okay? Simple, easy to understand, and nothing too complex. Okay. Now, on to the feats. All right? These generally work well with your feats, but you have to understand your feats first. In the first column, all right, just double checking that my camera's off when we go through this, Purifying Blood will allow you to replenish 50% more toughness on a melee kill. Your melee kills replenish a very small, insignificant amount of toughness. All right, I always say that, but realistically speaking, this amount will be increased by 50%. All right. However, this is often useless because things shoot at you in this game, and the amount of damage that the shooties enemies will deal, especially in threat level 4 and 5, is huge. So Purifying Blood is practically useless. If you found a way to use this, let me know. But it would most likely only be useful, in my mind, if all 3 of your curios have maxed out toughness damage reduction, resistance to gunners at the very least, and all of them increase toughness, then Purifying Blood might be useful. Otherwise, I generally don't see this getting used at all. Faith Restored is the general choice for column 1. It grants you 75% toughness damage reduction on a critical hit for 4 seconds. So if you've got a weapon that can critically hit a lot, then this is probably your weapon of choice. Then this is probably your feat of choice. That 75% toughness damage reduction is massive, all right? And considering you have this aura as well, it means that at baseline, you always have, with these two combined, all right, you always have a roughly about 82% toughness damage reduction. That's massive, all right? If a hit would deal 10 damage to you, it's only going to deal 2 now. Right? That's important. Now, this is mostly to survive ranged hits, okay? You don't want to be taking hits in melee because guess what? Melee hits have bleed through. Even if all of it's reduced, it might still bleed 1 damage through, and as far as I'm concerned, that's going to kill you. All right? Bloodletting. Oh, sorry, almost forgot. Enemies within, enemies without. This feat will replenish 5% toughness per second while within 5 meters of 3 enemies. How far is 5 meters? Let me show you. 5 meters is actually a lot closer than you think. This is 5 meters, where you're standing right here, and there's this one metal plate, and where the Mauler's standing. This Scab Gunner, this is 2 enemies within 5 meters. This guy behind, 8 meters away from you. All right, so roughly you're going to need to be this close to a horde of enemies, because you're going to need at least 3 of them for the feat to actually take place, okay? This is not very good because, again, although you're replenishing toughness continuously, if enemies are shooting at you, that toughness is going to go right down. So Faith Restored is more or less the only choice in column 1. However, if you've got a build that works with either of these, I would love to know your build and whether it's been T4, T5 tested. So let me know, okay? Column 2, Bloodletting. Whenever you dish out a melee critical hit, your enemy will bleed, okay? This is very useful because... There, do you see him bleeding? Now, the bleed damage isn't much and doesn't last for long. Take note of how short the bleed duration is. Let me do that again. Okay, the bleed duration isn't that long, but while he's bleeding, you've got that increased critical hit chance. Utilize that well, all right? However, take note that the bleed duration is very short. Okay, the bleed duration lasts at most 2 to 3 seconds. During that window, you've got a 10% melee critical chance. Bloodletting is still a fantastic choice if your weapon naturally has a high level of criticals. All right, the extra bleed damage, excuse me, can stack up and give you more crit chance, which lets you deal even more damage. All right, that's why I like Bloodletting. The other choice is, okay, Punishment. Now this one requires you to hit 3 or more enemies to grant plus 30% impact for 5 seconds. What exactly is impact? Impact refers to if you go and inspect a weapon, just as an example, all right? Here, inspect, what is it? Ah, there it is. Sorry, bit of a moron sometimes. Your impact refers to the lightning damage, all right? This is your impact damage. It is what will basically help you stagger a target, all right? Some special attacks have even more, you know, like fast combo dealing less damage but with increased stagger. Like this refers to impact damage, all right? So if a weapon does more impact damage, it staggers enemies easier, right? 30% impact, honestly, it depends on the weapon because it's not that much, but you actually don't need much impact to stagger an enemy as well. These two factors combined together can make Punishment very useful, but at the same time, you have to hit 3 or more enemies in order to get the bonus, and that means you're going to be face into a horde, all right, and trying to swing and hit 3 or more enemies. That, and in order to gain uninterruptible, you need 5 stacks. Not always possible, all right? If you're going to rush face long into a horde and try and count your hits, you're going to die off, which is why I don't generally endorse Punishment. But if you can use it in a build, as always, please let me know in the comments. Retribution is fairly simple. 10% attack speed when you're below 50% health, and you gain 20% attack speed, all right? So the initial bonus of 10% is doubled when you're below 20% health. This can work, but only in a very specific build, i.e. all 3 of your curios stack health, right? So it's easier in terms of raw numbers to get below the 20% and still have a little bit left over for survival. You will have that, right? Holy Revenant in general, so that you can survive if you do die. And your curios must stack because you'll be letting go of Bloodletting here. So you generally will have less crits, but of course faster attack speed. You would need a weapon with good criticals, usually with Faith Restored. And what you will do is you'll stay at 20% health. Your curios will need toughness, damage reduction, resistance versus gunners at the very minimum. Toughness, regeneration, speed, is a throw in the air. But these 2 perks, damage reduction and resistance versus gunners, are a must-have. On all 3 curios stack health, maybe 1 curio for wounds if you're doing higher tier content. And you can sort of run it like that. But again, my playstyle is not to rush into combat and try to lose health so that I can gain some, bonus that, may not be that beneficial to me. So in general, for this tier, I play way safe, so I go with Bloodletting. Okay, now I can finally put the camera back on because we're past the first 2 tiers. Yay! Okay, tier 3. This column of feats comes with Holy Fervor, which is absolutely but useless. Okay, why? Let me explain this in a very simple way that anybody can understand. Martyrdom is something that is permanent because it's based. So for example, if you lose 15 missing, if you have 15 missing health, right, from your total, let's say you've got 200 health, your first 15 missing, you gain 1 stack of martyrdom. It never goes away. Next 15 missing, you gain 2 stacks of martyrdom. Next 15 missing, you gain 3 stacks of martyrdom. That's it. Okay, that's your martyrdom in a nutshell. Okay, the Holy Fervor grants 20% power to allies in coherency for 5 seconds every time you gain a stack of martyrdom. But these stacks never go off. So this power is useless because it's like, imagine you take a massive hit from a crusher or something. You've gained 3 stacks of martyrdom at once. Your allies are buffed for 5 seconds and then that's it. Then you've literally wasted an entire column of feats. All right. Benediction is far more useful. 15% toughness damage reduction to all allies in coherency. It's beautiful, but please make sure your allies are in coherency. I know as a zealot you want to rush into combat, but if you're going to take this feat to defend your allies and you don't see the coherency of 4 in the bottom, you're doing it wrong. Okay, you're doing it wrong. Please, dear sweet lord, if you're going to take this feat, make sure your allies are in coherency. And again, inspiring excoriation, Whenever you use Chastise the Wicked, it replenishes 20% toughness to allies in coherency. Keyword allies in coherency. Fun fact, okay, I thought about getting separate footage of this, but I'm just going to tell you my results after testing it. It will not change the amount replenished by Chastise the Wicked. All right, this is one thing you guys may not know about this particular feat, Inspiring Excoriation. It doesn't change the toughness that you regenerate. You will always only get 50% back whenever you use Chastise the Wicked. This 20% will only be to your allies in coherency, not to you. I've seen some builds, you know, claiming Inspiring Excoriation's great. Yeah, except that you're only going to give 20% toughness to your allies, not to yourself. And that is what some of these builds claimed. It's bullshit. You can actually test that for yourself. Easiest way, go into a T1 with this feat, right? Go into a T1 with nobody around. And this will be so much easier in when solo games come, which is very soon. Well, not soon enough, but at least that's private games. So you can bring a friend along just to test this. Your friend will get the 20% extra. You will not. You will only restore 50% whenever you Chastise the Wicked. So Benediction is generally the choice for this tier. If you can use something else in a viable build, T4, T5, let me know. Okay. Column 4. Okay, column 4 is a mixed bag because let me explain this. Thy Wrath Be Swift allows you to no longer get stunned by enemy melee attacks. This can be huge for slower weapons such as the Eviscerator and the Thunder Hammer. However, okay, it means that you're not going to be able to take Faith Restores All or Holy Revenant. Okay, Holy Revenant is generally the best choice because it can not only be your saving grace, but it can allow you to heal up from the brink of death, allowing you to kind of survive a little bit. And quite frankly, this can be used very well with Retribution builds. Again, this is something that I personally, you know, kind of like the idea of. But Holy Revenant is a savior. It's like a saving grace, kind of. It's designed to help you, you know, survive. Okay? But Faith Restores All is the other survival talent. However, what I should explain to you is that after taking damage, you regain 25% of the damage taken over 5 seconds. Mathematically speaking, what this means is that if somebody hits you for 10 health damage, you will regain up to 3 health over 5 seconds. That's not very much at all. It can help, but in general, I favor Holy Revenant because Holy Revenant's your backup plan. This thing can be very useful, don't get me wrong, very useful, but ultimately you will eventually die. So the way that I would suggest choosing between these two, now this can be a niche choice. If you can use it well, let me know, but I generally have never seen it be used well because the 20% move speed for 2 seconds doesn't really benefit you because it's only when you take damage. So what are you going to do? Run away with it? You shouldn't be running away. A Zealot needs to get stuck into combat. So this is kind of like really weird. Because if you're taking a melee hit, you're already in melee range with the guy. You're not going to run to him. You know, it would have made more sense if it was like every time you take, you know, well, okay. I should probably explain this better. When you take damage at all, not just melee attacks. All right. So it does trigger when you take ranged attacks. So you can charge toward the enemy. But a Zealot is often in melee combat already because of Chastise the Wicked. So you're not going to get as much value out of this as you might think. The benefit is mostly if you're going to use a heavy weapon where you don't want to get stunned by melee attacks and you want to carry through with every single swing. This is where it will benefit you the most, in my opinion. But again, that's only if you're using a very specific build. And like I said, if you've got a build that works with this in T4, T5, let me know. I would love to see what you've got. Holy Revenant, I've already explained. Faith Restores All, also explained. But the difference between these two, right? Okay. I would choose Holy Revenant in 90% of situations where I don't know what I'm doing. All right? And the reason why I say that is because if you know the distance between each Medicae station, like say you've perfectly mastered all the maps, you already know how far each Medicae station is going to take you, what kind of Medicae you're going to get. Okay, if that is the case, right? Faith Restores All can be very useful because it will keep you alive until you get to the next station. All right, but this requires high level of game knowledge as well as your own ability to manage your health. So that is where Faith Restores All would generally be chosen over Holy Revenant, because Holy Revenant, you would literally be wasting this entire column if you never die. All right. Holy Revenant can also be a bit of a bad habit / crutch because it encourages death. And although this is only a 90-second cooldown, which to be fair isn't that long because your ultimate cools down every 30 seconds, FYI. So it's just 3 cooldowns of your ultimate. I generally still would take Holy Revenant, even though it might be a bit of a crutch / bad habit, because Faith Restores All is great and it's always active, but sometimes it just doesn't do enough for me. All right. So this is up to your personal choice. If I happen to know a map really well and I know that, oh, I'm going to go station to station and just heal up, then Faith Restores All can actually just keep you in the fight until you get to the next Medicae station, which is quite fantastic. And you don't have to rely on death for it to help you. All right. But honestly, I always prefer Holy Revenant because sometimes I fuck up pretty badly. As you've seen on streams, I can mess up pretty horribly. Okay. Now, column 5. All right. Okay, you're going to see a video cut when we address column 5 because, okay, I'm just going to go through column 5 in a second, but the first one, Emperor's Executioner, right now, there seems to be a little bit of a bug with the range damage increase not exactly falling off. I will be letting the devs know about this as soon as possible. But anyway, Emperor's Executioner, for now, it's just giving you a flat 25% increase. All right, I'm just going to demonstrate that really quickly. All right. So hopefully, those of you who see this in future, without this feat, it's about 86 damage per shot. With this feat, I hit for about 107 per shot. It takes a while for the feat to trigger, all right? But yeah, that's about it for this feat, okay? I will let the devs know about the bug ASAP, so that will be separate. So by the time you view this, like if it's been a week or 2, it might have been patched already. Okay, Rising Conviction, very simple. Take note of the buff down the bottom of the screen. Whenever I whack somebody, do you see that skull icon buff thing? Yeah. That will go up to 5. And in general, right, if it allows in melee combat, it can allow you to go from not one-shotting a target to one-shotting a target. So it can be very useful. All right, honest to God. Whack, 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 whack. It can be pretty good. The alternative choice to this is if you take Honor the Martyr. Martyrdom is up to 6 stacks. That means when you are 90 hit points down, you're going to deal a total of extra 30 damage. Okay, how do you decide between Rising Conviction and Honor the Martyr? All right, I'm going to explain this in really simple mathematical terms. Rising Conviction stacks up to 5 times, so at maximum, okay, it's going to give you a 20% damage increase. Take a look at your weapon. All right. If you look at the tab attack breakdowns, if you're going to get 20% damage increase, let's just say on 83 per hit, as an example, like the heavy hit is like practically double that. But if you look at your light attack and heavy attack, your light attack is going to increase 20%, right? By about 16 damage total. Whereas Martyrdom is going to give you a total of 30. Contrast this with the heavy attack. Your heavy attack with Rising Conviction at max stacks is going to go up by 16 times 2. That is 32. Okay, roughly 30. You're going to get 32 damage. With Martyrdom at 6 stacks, you're going to get a flat 30 increase and nothing beyond that. In my honest opinion, because you're going to have 3 stacks of Martyrdom anyway to boost your base damage, Rising Conviction is often the better choice. Again, the only way that Martyrdom is better is if you're using a weapon with very low base damage. If you're using a weapon with high base damage on light attacks and heavy attacks, then realistically speaking, you are kind of losing out because you're not actually getting the best possible damage on anything that's like 200 damage on a light attack. Just an example. Please don't use the Thunderhammer because it sucks. Nah, I'm just kidding. I hate the Thunderhammer, but if you can use it, go ahead and use it. But on the Thunderhammer, a 20% increase is going to be 40 extra damage with maxed out Rising Conviction. So honestly, you're missing out. Martyrdom is only better on things like the Combat Blade. You take lots of damage, that's okay. You gain a flat 30, which would be more than what you would get if you were to like, because 20% of the light attack is only going to be 8. 8 versus 30 is a huge difference, you know? So again, this one depends on the weapon you're using. If I was using a Combat Blade, I would definitely go for the Honor Thy Martyr instead of Rising Conviction. All right. but it's realistically a choice within this tier. You know, if you're primarily melee, you're gonna want some of this. Emperor's Executioner can be useful, but I honestly wouldn't give up my Rising Conviction in most cases. All right, in most cases. It can, like I said, if it helps you hit another damage breakpoint, it can be so useful. Okay, in the final tier. Now, the final tier is very interesting. Purge the Wicked is the... Now, I'm going to go through this in opposite order because Purge the Wicked is the one that is generally most used. Please keep in mind that with Purge the Wicked, and I have to demonstrate this, okay? You have 2 charges that regenerate separately. Now, the visual is kind of bugged right here, which I'm pretty sure somebody's already reported, or at least one of my viewers told me they already reported this. But as it regenerates, Meat Grinder is always buggy, but in actual combat, it's not bugged, right? You restore your charges at the normal rate. The 30-second cooldown does not restore both charges. You restore 1 charge, all right, after 30 seconds is up, all right? So hold on, it's gonna do that. Yep. And I can't trigger it again because I've only got 1 charge. So it takes a full 60 seconds to restore both charges. However, you've got 2 charges, so you've got some options during combat. That's mostly why I personally favor Purge the Wicked, because having 2 charges allows me to charge once, and if I get in trouble, I can charge again. All right. So this is where I prefer Purge the Wicked. Invocation of Death is really good and sounds good on paper, but here's the difficulty. Okay, let's say I've charged up, right? And I rush in. The first swing will give me that 1.5 seconds reduction, but remember, it's a 30-second cooldown, which means even if I hit 10 crits, all right, it's gonna take that long for me to actually get my charges back. See? 10 crits would take it down by 15 seconds. So it depends on how fast you can crit and how much you're actually critting. Okay. In most combat situations, I find that having 2 charges is far better than reducing the cooldown of your main charge, and then you use it and then you've got no backup plan. All right. So this is where Invocation of Death doesn't really do it for me. I very much prefer Purge the Wicked. Having 2 charges is tactically more viable. Because, okay, let's take this Tack Axe, for example. Right. This one has a baseline 11.85% melee critical bonus, and that's already like the maxed out bonus of criticals, which is really, really good, which is kind of awesome, really. But that means that there's a 10% chance on every attack to reduce the cooldown of Invocation of Death. I would say Invocation of Death is only worthwhile if you have above a 20 to 25% critical chance, which can happen, but yeah, you would require specific feats. So you need Shred on that Tack Axe. And then at that point, Invocation of Death, when you're critting like on almost every hit, plus Bloodletting, you could get your charge back really fast. But until you have that perfect loadout, I would prefer Purge the Wicked. Fury of the Faithful is interesting, but it's kind of like, you know, because even though you're attacking so much faster for 5 seconds, it's basically like if you really want to kill one target, and then after the buff goes off, you're just back to your normal swinging. You see, and you don't get any faster cooldowns, so then you're basically out of action for another 30 seconds. So tactically speaking, I don't find it as viable. I very much prefer to just have my Purge the Wicked. All right. That's about it for the Zealot feats. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. I know it's a long one, but I hope that the information in this helps you guys out. All right, I'm late to my stream. Sorry, a bit late filming Zealot vid. But anyway, I'm late to my own stream, so I'm gonna leave you guys here. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed my breakdown of all these various preacher feats, you know, then please, I ask you kindly, please help me get this video to 250 likes so that we can go higher in the algorithm and reach more Zealots. Thank you very much for watching this, and just know that I appreciate all of you. And always, before we, you know, no matter how late I am, okay, I'm going to still thank every single channel member, you know, of the honored and prestige tier that actually made a video like this possible, because you guys are the ones that help us do all this crazy cool stuff that we always do. So here is our top tier, okay, starting At our Plus Ultra fan, Death Dawning 982, thank you so much. Jerry Fast, Joshua Moritz, Rogue Assassin, Old Mr. Cream Buff, Zach and FG, they're all prestige tier. Thank you guys so much. Our honored tier, Daniel Morris, Brian Lancaster, Mason, The Oculus, Wild Hunt, Coda CMF, AKJ, also known as New Ev, Kami SMH, Jammer Boy, Conrad C, Miss Eve, Jacob Gabrick, Nate the Great, Curtis Schussler, MJ, Shadow, Corey Ryu, Benjamin Savage, Lady Neo, Anarchy Inc., Greasy Burger, and Stefan Geyer. Thank you so much. All right, and thank you to all of our cool bots as well. I'll see you on the next video. Y'all know what to do.